Recording now, and then maybe turn that down just a tad. Test, test, test. Perfect. Okay, we're going to let this run.
Okay.
All right. First of all, I'm going to start talking, and then I'll introduce you, and then we'll chat. Yeah, that'll work right there. All right, it is our 95 live studio sessions. My name is Big Rick. Really, I'm not that big, JD. I'm not that big. Hey, let's make sure your mic level's good. Can I hear you?
Check, testing.
Oh, that's
testing.
Perfect. Don't be afraid to speak up, okay?
You got it.
So in studio right now, I've got the very talented and very nice fella, JD Shelburne. How you doing, bud?
Good to see you again, man.
Yeah.
Honored to be here.
Yeah. So you've been making the rounds. I see that you're going to visit my friend Gator up in Louisville.
See him in a couple days, actually.
Yeah, a couple days, yeah.
Good guy, just like you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you. I think the first time I met you was at this year's Kentucky Derby on the red carpet. You had like some rhinestone going on there, didn't you?
That's something I do every year, and I'm kind of starting to run out of ideas. My first Derby, it's been about 5 years ago. I got invited to do the red carpet, and I thought if I'm going to do the red carpet, I should wear something that would draw attention, because really nobody knew who I was. I'm just another artist, just trying to build a name, and I thought if I'm going to be on the red carpet, I should try to do something to draw attention to me. And so, what better than a rhinestone coat?
And those sunglasses.
Yeah, well, it is.
Well,
bright.
Sunglasses were awesome. Yeah, I thought it was the next coming of Elvis walking on the red carpet.
I'll take it, man.
Yeah.
But I design those jackets every year. I go. I'm starting to run out of ideas. You can only buy so many different color jackets, and I started doing that about 5 years ago, and I've done it ever since. It's funny because I feel like if I don't go to the Derby with a rhinestone coat, people ask me, "Well, why didn't you design the rhinestone coat?" So the tradition continues for me. And we go every year. It's always a blast, and it's one of my most fun weeks, just to go back for Derby and celebrate Kentucky and horse racing and seeing friends and artists and people like you that support us along the way. It's great.
So I got an idea for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see on my screen here. Florence, Kentucky, they just recently...
I saw that on Twitter. What's this about? Tell me.
So, Florence is famous for... And I've actually lived there. I lived there when I worked near Cincinnati years ago.
I got a question about it, too. Keep going.
But they got a water tower by the mall there that says, Florence, y'all. And
did it used to say mall?
No.
Really? Okay.
It's always said Florence, y'all. And so it used to be the Florence Freedom. Mm-hmm. I've actually been to a few of their games. Yep. They've got a nice ballpark there, and very smart marketing employee for them. They decided, we'll just call ourselves the Owls.
That's great.
There's nothing more Kentucky than
that. The logo is genius.
So, you could draw some inspiration from this. Maybe a good PR campaign for you.
It would be.
And I'll take credit for it when you do it.
Your commission check or something.
But maybe a big Y'alls in rhinestone would look kind of cool.
That would be cool. I mean, what's funny you say this. I actually just saw this on Twitter randomly last night during the UK basketball game. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really click the link to see what it was about yet, but now that you've brought it to my attention, that's definitely checking it out.
Are you a UK fan?
I'm diehard, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We are the UK station.
I know, yep. And I live in Nashville. You can pick it up. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's his name from Halfway to Hazard?
David?
The bigger guy.
I think David.
Yeah, David told us this past spring at CMA Fest in our interview with him that he listens to us in Nashville because we carry Kentucky basketball.
Yeah, he's great, man. I love those guys.
Yeah.
But Kentucky basketball, man, we live and die for it. I have since I was a little kid. Even what was cool, the single I've been testing out off my new record. Rep Arena played it last night after the game, so it was kind of cool.
No way!
I kept getting texts from friends and fans like, "Dude, you're being playing at Rep right now." So that was kind of cool. So maybe we can start the tradition, like every time they win a game, they play my song.
Yeah!
That's for me, man.
I like that. So another idea could be a rhinestone UK blazer.
Yeah, I have thought about doing that, but I guess I'd piss off Louisville fans.
But, you're going to be in Louisville, so you better have that thing.
Cards on one sleeve, Kentucky on the other, I don't know.
You better have that thing in your duffel bag till the very last second. When you came in the studio, before we started recording here, we were talking about you're on the cover of GQ magazine. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. You're on the cover of what?
The Kentucky Tourism Guide 2020.
Well, that's a big deal.
It's huge, man. And at the time, I didn't realize exactly what it was. I've been doing this. I've been playing music since about '02. I discovered guitar in college. developed a passion for music and started touring and building a name back in about '05. And I've done lots of stuff through the years, over a couple thousand gigs, and so I've got a great story to tell of how I've got to where I'm at. And the tourism department had reached out to my PR team last year about they were selecting artists from the state. They were this year's going to be called the state of Kentucky, just Kentucky Music Heritage, and talk about artists from this state. And I was the one they selected, and we went to Louisville back in June one Saturday and filmed this kind of backstory on my career. And while I was there, they'd taken some photos in this really cool setting. Man, it had a bourbon barrel and just a really cool backdrop of this old grocery store down in downtown Louisville. And the pictures were fabulous, and I love the backdrop. And then I guess about a week later, they sent us an email and said, we love the photos, and the video's kind of a separate entity. We're working on that too, but the photos really strike a resemblance of this Kentucky Music Heritage, and we love it, and we'd love to feature you on the cover if you approve. I'm like, what does that even mean? I mean, I know I'm familiar with the tourism guide, but where's this go? Anytime I can get any promo, you can bet I'm in.
How many eyeballs are going to see this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like 400,000 copies are going to go out. I'm like,
yeah.
Is it going to cost me anything?
So
She's like, no.
If one person per publication saw that, that's 400 and something thousand people.
Exactly.
Imagine if like a whole family saw that one publication.
Exactly, and it's been I'm not only on the front cover, I'm also on the back, and even inside, I'm on like a centerfold inside, which is really cool. They selected me for this.
He said centerfold.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, man. It's great promo, and
we are family friendly here. Okay,
right. Clothes on. But when they asked me to be a part of this, of course I was all about it and really excited for it. And I had to keep it hush hush for about 4 months, and ended up we went to the state capitol. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, and did a big unveil for it. And since that has happened, man, my email has blown up with just opportunities. And I booked 16 shows in 2 days last week just for festivals that have come in this year. So it's really lit a fire. I mean, I've always played over 200 shows every year, and I've really hustled at getting out and getting seen. But this tourism guide has really helped.
Now we're going to talk about the new single here in a minute. But speaking of festivals, the next time I saw you in 2019 was at Hometown Rising. And let me tell you, first of all, before we get to what your involvement was with that, I will say, and we talked about this at length with the folks at Hometown Rising, they did a terrific job with that. First year festivals, I've seen a lot of them come and go, and these guys really executed it really well. The future is bright for that in Louisville.
Yeah, it was, man, I'm telling you, I was one of the artists that was selected to be on the show, and you didn't really know what to expect with an inaugural festival. I knew with anything associated with Danny Wimmer would be first class.
Yeah.
I know everything he puts
Danny's
on.
a hoot, too.
Yeah, he is. Anything he puts on is gold, and I met him at Derby a couple years ago, and he pulled me aside and said, man, I love what you do. We're thinking about bringing a country show to Louisville, and I'd love to have you on it. And I'm like, well, whatever you do, I'm not going to forget this conversation. I hope you don't, because I definitely want to be a part of it. When it ended up working out, and they asked us to be a part of it, and I'm telling you, from the time we pulled in the gate to park our car and truck and trailer to the time we pulled out, it was like it couldn't have been any smoother. It couldn't have been any better. We were treated like rock stars. We had our own. We had everything, even backstage with our own dressing room, with the snacks involved, with everything involved, with the food, to load into the stage, the sound check was. I mean, I've played festivals after festivals, and this is by far a step ahead of everybody I've ever performed for. I played Hullabaloo at Churchill Downs in 2010. That was the first kind of big country fest that came to Louisville, and it only lasted 1 year. And it was a great festival too. Huge names back then: Bon Jovi, Jason Aldean. I was on that. But
I would have loved to see that. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was in 10.
Wow.
It was in the infield of Churchill Downs, and Hometown Rising, just a step ahead.
Yeah. So you got to perform, obviously, during Hometown Rising. I remember your set. I'm like, oh, that's what he sounds like. 'Cause I haven't heard you perform. I mean, I met you already, but
yeah.
I'm like, oh.
You gave me an interview back there. Appreciate you doing that.
Yeah. We had fun back there. Really hot day. Remember that?
Super hot, man.
Oh, my goodness. Who was on before you?
It was, I think it was Rod Stewart's daughter. It was the sister.
Oh, yeah.
The Sisterhood band or something like that. Yeah, cute girls, man. They were rocking.
Who was after you? Do you remember?
Who was after?
Who had to follow you?
I can't remember.
Was it Lindsay L?
I think I was gonna say Jimmy Allen or Lindsay L.
Yeah.
I think it was Lindsay. I'm trying to remember who it was. It may be Lindsay L.
I think Jimmy was on after Lindsay.
That's what it was. Yeah. It was man. It was.
So
my
Lindsay
fans
L.
were crazy.
Lindsay L. had to follow you.
Yes. She rocks, man.
She's awesome.
She is.
Yeah.
I wish I could play guitar like her.
Yeah. I've got to interview her a couple times, and she's just freaking amazing.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, that festival was awesome. Tim, I mean, we ended up staying that night. Once I got off the stage after my set, I did some radio stuff, and then I wanted to see Tim that night. He's one of my all time favorite artists, and he absolutely killed it. I mean, he came out on stage, man, and it was just like it's autopilot for him. I mean, hit after hit after hit, and just the way he entertains, and he just has everybody in the palm of his hand, you know. And then, you know, like after the show, I'm like, God, I want to get a picture with him, you know. And like he was gone off into the sunset.
You know, I know
Jet back to Nashville.
I know a guy that I could put you in touch with that might be able to make that happen.
I want a picture with him bad.
Yeah, I know a guy. Really, his name's Jack. Really nice guy. He actually discovered Faith Hill.
Oh, nice.
And now he's got Tim and Faith. But
he's got a mansion on the hill, I'm sure now.
But Jack Purcell is a terrific guy. That's who you need to get a hold of.
I need to get a hold of him. I don't know that name.
Yeah. I mean, he's been the guy to manage them for forever.
It's great. Good to know.
Yeah. I got his email. I'll get it too before we leave. You know, what's cool, I'll tell you a cool Tim McGraw story. Tim and Faith story. When I was out in Boise, we do this charity called Keep Kids Warm out there. And Tim and Faith signed a guitar together. And apparently that is rare. That's very rare. And that guitar netted us over $10,000.
That's incredible.
In our auction. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, think back to the career they put together. I mean, late '90s, the Soul to Soul tours. And I mean, I've had Tim's records for years and years, and it's amazing what he's done and the music, the songs. I mean, some of the songs that he's cut, you know, we still play today. Something like that, still in our set from 1997. And my neighbor Mark Nessler wrote that we write together a lot. He wrote "Just to See You Smile" for Tim McGraw, and so like you know, some of those songs that I grew up listening to before I even started playing guitar. And, he's still out making records. It's amazing.
I feel like a guy like Tim is getting ready to branch out into something beyond music. It just feels like that to me for some reason. With his social media and stuff he's been doing lately, I feel like he's going more in a on-camera type direction. But hope he doesn't quit making music.
Now he's got a gym in Hills.
Yeah. You know, he's trying to make that a franchise, I think. Yeah.
True Mav.
So, I mean, is that going to be J.D. Shelburne in like 20 years?
Hey, maybe. I don't know.
Are you going to be working out 3 times a day like Tim McGraw?
You know, if I guess if I had his money and I could hire a trainer and
he works out 3 times a day.
He flips like tractor trailer tires on the parking lots and stuff. I mean, I've seen the interviews, I've heard interviews, and I've read them in magazines of what he does. It's just amazing.
Oh my
goodness. He looks great. I mean, my wife is obsessed with him.
How many tires are you flipping right now? You better step it up.
I know, right? I don't know if I've ever tried to flip a tire in a parking lot. I do work out though. I do like a fit body boot camp in Hermitage, and so I do that once a day. It's like a 40-minute fat burner class. It's pretty awesome.
Too much for me. Yeah. I'll stay fat.
I like donuts, man. Come on.
Yeah. J.D. Shelburne's in with our 95 Live studio sessions. Let's talk about the new single that you mentioned it's in the tourism guide, and it's called "Straight from Kentucky."
Woohoo!
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got a lot of Kentucky words in that title. Straight, like shoot it straight. You know, like shooting whiskey or bourbon. It's got the word Kentucky in it, and it's got from Kentucky. Okay, I'm
kind of like where you're going, man.
I'm reading too much into this. Why don't you tell us what the song is about? What's the story behind it?
Well, I'll tell you. I've been working on a new record. My new record's going to drop this summer, and
it's going to be dropping like it's hot.
Dropping like it's hot. That's right. You feel that little mix in there when you play this back. But I ended up. I had a songwriter session, a writing appointment with a guy named Phil O'Donnell. Phil O'Donnell's written tons of hits for Blake and produced a lot of records for Craig Morgan, and he's really good, really well known in the business. And I'd had his email for a while. We had done some shows together, and I just randomly reached out to him about a month before Hometown Rising, and he got back to me and was like, let's write one together. So I met him down at Warner, and we got in the room that day. Back about this is about July of 2019 last year, And we came in, shook his hand, we sat down. He's like, "What do you want to write about?" I'm like, "I want to write a song about the state of Kentucky. I'm getting ready to do this huge show called Hometown Rising. I'd like to debut a new song during my set, something about the state. You know, what I love about this state, and just something I can tie in everything about the entire bluegrass state into one song. It's something like an anthem for people. I've been in the business over a decade. I've never had a song that really talks about why I love Kentucky." But I always talk about Kentucky in my set every night I play and where I'm from. And so we ended up writing this song together. And Phil is from New Brunswick, Canada, and he's like, "Bro, the only thing I know about Kentucky is bourbon and horses. That's about it."
Bourbon and horses.
And it's like, dude, there's so much more.
Yeah.
And so he's on the laptop and he's on looking at Googling Kentucky, and Wikipedia comes up. He's like, "Who's Kaywood Ledford?"
Oh.
And he's like, "L.A.
I know who that is.
L81, what's that?" I'm like, "That's from Kentucky," and Colonel Sanders, and we started jotting all these big names down that come from our state, and so we started jotting these names down and just learning to rhyme them, and so we wrote the song, and it's like a domino effect. I wrote the song, played it at Hometown Rising, my email blew up over it, and then the tourism guide come out. And we debuted this song in the Capitol Rotunda 2 weeks ago. And since then, the governor, everybody in the state loves it that has reached out to me about it. And we went to the studio, recorded it for my new record. And we've just been testing it out to see how people like it. And, Rupp Arena played it last night after the Georgia-Kentucky game. And it's kind of like an anthem. And so we wrote the song about, we mentioned Daniel Boone, we mentioned Kaywood Ledford, or Adolph Rupp, Jim Beam. We mentioned the song title from Keith Whitley and Billy Ray Cyrus. We say Montgomery Gentry, Cassius Clay, Loretta Lynn, Peanut Butter.
Diane Sawyer.
I know, right? What rhymes with that, right?
I think she's from Louisville. And
she is. Her picture's still on the building downtown, I think.
Carly Pierce.
Yes, she's
she's from Taylor Mill, I think.
Yeah,
by Cincinnati.
Yep.
Up in that area.
I always liked her sound too, and we just decided to put this anthem song out and see what it does. And man, it's been great.
You did more nostalgic figures in this song, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Folks who have a lot of history in the state. Well, I get listeners who tell me all the time, because we carry Kentucky basketball. They talk about Kaywood, and they would listen to the radio broadcast and sync it with their TV.
Yep.
And turn the volume on their TV down.
We all
listening.
do that.
Yeah, Kaywood Ledford. And
it's funny, when we went into the studio to do an acoustic session, I was just putting these videos out. We went to the studio in Nashville and just did this little 3-piece acoustic trio and played 3 songs just for socials. And we decided to do one song off the new record because I'm still recording my record. I have like 3 songs to go and I'm done. But we recorded straight from Kentucky this particular night for my socials and for YouTube. And my guitar player came up to me. He waited till the show and was like, "Hey, is it Kaywood Ledford or Dave Woods?" And I was like, "What?" He's like, "It sounds like you're saying Dave Woods." And I was like, "That's hilarious."
Whoa.
And so I was like, "No, it's Kaywood Ledford." And he had he's from Canada too. He had no idea who he was. But it's just funny to hear stories, man, and now that I can pretty much guarantee you there's probably not another country song that says the name Kaywood Ledford and Adolph Rupp in the same song.
Yeah.
So Rupp's playing it right now, which is pretty cool. So
yeah,
it's a dream come true for Kentucky boy.
You didn't mention any Louisville basketball figures in that song?
We didn't. We said Cassius Clay. That's pretty close. I did say Denny Crum in it when I performed it live at Hometown Rising, but we just couldn't get anything to rhyme. I mean, and we ended up putting R.J. Corman Railroad in it, and I see his trains all over the place. And
what about Rex Chapman?
Rex Chapman's not in it. Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Have you been watching his Twitter?
He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh man, some of these videos. I mean, he followed me a couple months ago.
He is so funny.
We've been corresponding. I'm trying to get him in here on my show, but yeah, what a player too. And he's from Owensboro.
My dad coached basketball at Bull East High School in the '80s, and my dad coached against him at an All-Star game. And Dad said my dad was a coach back before he retired, and he coached against Rex. And I don't remember what year it was, but he's told me the stories a bunch. But he was coaching at Bull East High School one night, and they had Apollo in for an All-Star game or something. And Rex came down baseline and dunked, and he said he tore the rim off the rafters. And he said, as years went on, I went to high school, I played and stuff, and to this day you can still see where the paint is where the goal was pulled off, where it was painted over it, and it's still messed up. But But yeah, my dad ended up meeting Rex at a UK event, SEC tournament last year, and I got Dad to meet Rex, and Dad told him the story, and he remembered it. It's pretty kind of cool. So
Yeah.
I've been a Rex fan for a long time, man. He can play.
Yeah, you got to get Rex Chapman. He's doing like the pregame stuff.
Yeah,
now.
he is with Dave Baker.
He needs to get you on there.
I know.
As a guest.
I know.
Yeah. Play that song.
I know, right? That's a good idea. I need to reach out to Dave.
Yeah. All right, you gonna play the song for us?
I will.
Yeah. So while I wait for him to get the guitar all good to go, check out JD on Instagram. It's JD Shell with one L, Burn with an E, and he's very active on the socials, the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook. And we want to thank JD for plugging us, too. You've been plugging us all week that you're coming here. So we appreciate that and the exposure. So you're going to play straight from Kentucky for us, right? All right. Here is JD Shelburne, his new tune, Straight from Kentucky, on our 95 Live studio sessions.
Might say Daniel Boone is our father, from Cassius Clay to the coal miner's daughter, sawmills to the old mill slugger, there ain't one to peanut butter. We thank God we were born from a mother straight from Kentucky. We got golden rods and Fort Knox, big red Auburn running, holy rollers passing copperheads, waiting on the second coming. Kaywood led for play-by-play. I'm no stranger to the rain, but my first breath down to my last name came straight from Kentucky. Hey. We got whitetail, bluegrass, and wild turkey. We got tobacco barns, Rough River, and the Derby. The black lung singing Sunday morning, Grandpa on the back view snoring. The Colonel on a stave and Arctic Corman came straight from Kentucky. We got golden rods and Fort Knox, big red Auburn running, holy rollers passing copperheads, waiting on the second coming. Corvettes are born and bold and green, old Coach Ruff and old Jimmy Bean, Billman Rowan, a Montgomery Gentry, straight from Kentucky. United we stand, divided we fall. All gave some gave all. We're all for one and one for all. We got golden rods and Fort Knox, big red Auburn running, holy rollers passing copperheads, waiting on the second coming. Kaywood led for play-by-play. I'm no stranger to the rain, but my first breath down to my last name came straight from Kentucky. Straight from Kentucky.
Ow! That sounds terrific.
Thank you, brother.
You know who you remind me of?
Who?
I don't know if artists like this. I do this often. I probably offend them. But you remind me of Jake Owen for some reason.
I get that sometimes. I used to when I had long hair. I had long hair for
No,
years.
not the looks.
Yeah, the sound?
Just the sound, the style, the cadence with your voice. I just like your approach. I mean, you go balls to the wall when you sing.
Always, man.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I don't think a lot of artists do that. I think they hold back sometimes. I don't know if they're just afraid of what people will think if they really push it to the limit. But man, you definitely do that every time out.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your bio here. And I knew you were kind of like an athletic dude. I could tell just by the way you're built. You've been eating some corn, for sure. You're corn fed. You played 3 sports in high school?
2. We didn't have football. Believe it or not, Taylorsville, Spencer County, I did not have football.
Okay.
I would have loved to have a football team, but I played basketball and baseball growing up, all through high school, all through elementary school, through high school, and we had some good old times, man. And that's really where singing started for me. We used to sing on our bus rides on the way to the games. Our Sony boombox, remember those? You'd have the batteries in the back. The old times.
I remember that.
Top,
Yeah.
And that's really where singing started for me. And
were you holding it up on your shoulder like
we
this
did
too?
several times.
Yeah.
The good old days, man.
Oh man, those were the good old days.
I can still go back to my room at my parents' house right now, and like my room has not changed. It's just something but like a bed there and a bunch of it's just like a storage room now. And I can still tell you where my Sony Discman is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Remember the Sony Discman?
And remember, you couldn't take it running.
Yeah, because it would skip.
It would skip. I remember that. Yeah. You could barely walk. You had to like get it in your pocket just right.
Yep.
Yeah, so it wouldn't skip. Yeah.
The good old days, man.
Golly. So you've got a new song out. I mean, you've got some things going for you in 2020. Booking a lot of shows, obviously. What's like the next big thing you want to accomplish this year?
One thing I've never done. I've never played the Opry, and that's been in the works. We're in the process of getting that booked. Hopefully, sometime this year around my CD release. I'm looking to release my record in mid-July, and that's something that's been on my radar for a long time. I've talked about it in hundreds of interviews, and it's always there's always something you want to try to get down. Also, another radio single. That's my goal this year. So
yeah, this new
record's gonna be probably my best work. Phil O'Donnell's producing it, and I feel like we got some really good stuff to put out and test out. So in the process of that, man, we're just out continue building my name and touring. I mean, I did two actually last year. Believe it or not, I did 222 dates in bands in town. It got me a Billboard magazine write-up. It said I was the #1 most toured artist out of 25 million acts, according to bands in town. So I played 222 tour dates last year, and it got me a Billboard write-up because of that. And it was like Billie Eilish and then some other artist, I can't think, it's an international superstar, and it was my name under it. It was great.
No way!
Yeah, so
that's awesome.
So we're always out playing shows and stuff, but this tourism guide thing is really blown it up.
How much of a toll does that take doing that many dates?
It gets kind of tiring, but I don't try to wear myself out. I mean, there are times where I'm definitely not going to drive to Las Vegas and then play in Florida the next day. But I try to work out and eat decent. But at the same time, I mean, it's just like anything else. The road does wear you out sometimes, but at the same time, the money's pretty good too. So those things kind of keep you going, and you're at the same time you're pushing your career a little bit farther than what it was the night before, and so. All those things together. And a lot of times my wife travels with me, which is cool, so we can actually spend time and that kind of thing. But it's like anything else. You have a passion for do something that you love, and it's you just keep rolling.
And if it doesn't scare you, you shouldn't be doing it.
That's right. When I first started, I was like, man, this is it was tough getting gigs. I mean, no one's like, man, I'd love to play your bar, but I just can't play for free. And that was way early on, and that was the hard part, is really sticking with it when no one really knew who you were, and you're trying to make a name. And the only thing the bar cared about, they didn't care what you sang or how good you were, how good you looked. It's if you could sell enough beer, or if you could make them any money.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that I I have a loyal fan base, and we do very well. It's sometimes we have to turn gigs down, which I hate to do, but it's a good feeling, man. I've started from the very bottom, man. And, just doing this as a hobby.
You're just like Drake.
Right.
Started from the bottom. I think that's how it goes. Goodness gracious. Well, J.D. Shelburne, star on the rise. He's hustling. Man, you're hustling. And those are the artists that I like. The J.D. Shelburnes. I remember when Jake Owen back in the day was hustling. I remember when he would show up for radio visits, and you couldn't get him to leave.
Wow.
Like guys like you and him and others who really just went after it. So keep doing what you're doing,
Thank
man.
you, man.
You're on the rise. I know it. Check out JD's new single called "Straight from Kentucky." You can get it anywhere music is sold, I assume. Spotify, Apple, and also streaming too. Please stream them.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. How many streams did you get last year? Do you know?
I know I'm over 100,000 for sure. The problem I have with Spotify. CMT's helped me out with this. Is no one can ever find my name, and that's because of the dots in between JD.
Ah.
So finally, Leslie at CMT reached out to, I forgot who it was at Spotify, but they were able to change my name to just JD, and that has helped.
Are you talking about Leslie that does the Next Women in Country?
Yeah, Leslie.
She's wonderful.
She's
yeah, I'm going to see
amazing.
her at CRS.
She's amazing.
I can't wait to talk to her.
She does so much for us, and she helped me reach out to Spotify to get it changed. And so now it's just JD without the periods. And believe it or not, trying to find my name with the periods on Spotify was tough for fans. I mean, I would have people at every show say, "Man, are you not on Spotify?" I'm like, "Yeah, all over Spotify." And they're like, "We can't find you." So, and I noticed when people would type in their phone, they would type in just JD and not the periods. And I'm like, aha. And so Spotify changed it. It's done wonders. So it's been great, man.
Good.
You know?
Good. Yeah. And any other ventures besides the beyond the? I mean, you're on the freaking cover of the tourism guide. I mean, that's amazing. New single, probably. I'm assuming you might be back at Hometown Rising. We'll see if that falls together. I think it will. What else is going on for you this year?
We got a lot of shows in the works, man. Lots of stuff. I got a pretty cool little promo coming. I'm going to announce in May that I'm still waiting to get the green light on. It's going to be in 650 stores nationwide. So I'm hoping to announce that pretty soon, man. And I haven't got the green light on it yet. I wish I could tell you what it was on the podcast, but maybe by the time this comes out, it'll be.
You'll have to shoot me a message.
I will, yeah.
On my Twitter and let me know.
Little things like that, man. And just, every year I get a little bit farther, and I get a lot better gigs. So it's been great, very rewarding year, and we'll see what happens, man. I'm always hustling, and this new record, I'm gonna put every 2 years I put a new album out, and this 2020 marks a new record. So we're in the process of recording that, getting that done, and I'll always go back to my hometown in Taylorsville and throw a free concert. We bring the whole circus, man. We bring the stage, the hydraulic stage, to the speakers, to the bus, to the all the way to the restrooms, to the food court, man. We do it all up, and in 8,000 people showed up, man. It was pretty awesome. And so I look forward to going back home. Maybe I can pull 10,000 in my hometown. That'd be a dream come true. But nevertheless, man, looking forward to the new music, and we're gonna be teasing songs along the way on Apple Music and Spotify and music videos, and just trying to get momentum built.
Okay. It is the Big Rig Podcast. JD Shelburne in studio with me for here at the Goober 95.1 Studios. In case you want to see what JD looks like, please don't take this the wrong way. I don't want to make you uncomfortable or anything, but this is one handsome fella. So go to my YouTube channel, Big Rick in the Morning, and just watch the podcast. And ladies, just watch at your own pleasure, I guess. No, I'm just messing with you. I know you're married and all that good stuff, but man, dude, I'm telling you, you got big things coming. Can't wait to see what you got coming into 2020. Maybe I'll see you this fall too.
Fingers crossed, man.
At the media tent at Hometown Rising. Are you going to the Derby this year?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, I'll see you there too.
I look forward to always seeing you there.
Yeah,
man. Yeah. Hometown Rising was one of the biggest crowds we played to, so hopefully they saw that and they'll have me back. So
yeah. I think they were impressed. So. Yeah, and Danny Wimmer was, when he's happy, everybody's happy.
He is, man. He's the king, man.
When he's not happy, nobody's happy.
Thanks for having me in, guys, man. I appreciate all your years of support, you and Greg, and it's always good to get home state support.